I'm just out. I just keep it there just in case. And if I see something, boom, snap a beautiful photo just like that. I'm almost certain I found the perfect camera for travel photography. Now, I know my last videos have all been about my experience traveling in China, but for those of you who don't know, I used to be a professional photographer and videographer, and camera gear is something that's always important to me. And in those years creating all that content, I had yet to find a perfect travel camera for photography. Now that I've moved to China, I think I have. And that would be the Fuji XT50. Now, when picking a camera, it's really difficult to check all the boxes of what one might want because there really isn't a perfect camera for all situations. Now, when looking for a camera for travel, there are quite a few more criteria you might not think about when just picking a camera in general. One, it needs to be small and light. The more you travel is the more you realize the big and heavy things are not worth it, which also means it needs to be compact in size, something you can put in your pocket or put in a bag with a bunch of other things you need for travel. Makes it a lot more appealing to use. Next thing, autofocus. When you're in a new environment, you want to be able to capture what's happening really quickly, and sometimes you don't have enough time to manually put a shot in focus. You need to have good battery life, and finally, obviously, you need to have a good quality image. That is kind of the most important one, and fortunately, I found a camera that seems to have all of them. Now let's talk about it. Now, talking about the size and weight, this camera feels so small in the hand. I would say even a little bit too small. There's some instances where I find myself, having a little bit too many fingers dangling down here. And I know you can get battery grips for it, but I do not mind holding it kind of like this, which makes it feel, a lot more point and shoot. And yeah, it's nice. The weight, very light, very small. I can fit this sometimes in a large pocket. I can toss it in my bag and not worry about the size or weight ruining my travel experience. Now, to keep the setup compact, I did get a 27mm pancake style lens, which is just the ones that are much smaller. You see it doesn't protrude much from the camera, and that just makes it a lot more enjoyable when shooting. Keeps the setup really small, very non-intrusive. I'm actually able to get a lot more street photography style photos without causing too much of commotion because it's just a lot more sleek, it's a lot more minimal. And again, it keeps the footprint small so that you can just toss it in a pocket. Additional features that makes this great for travel is the fact that one, it has IBIS, in-body image stabilization, which means handheld shots are a lot more stable. Not the most essential thing for photography, but it can help when you're quickly bringing the camera up and taking a shot, which is something I do very often with this camera. It's going to be great if you use this camera for video. I personally don't. I do have cameras designated for videos, so I don't really find myself needing this for video, but it does shoot a beautiful 4K image if you need. Another thing that makes it great for travel is the versatility, the fact that you have a built-in flash in case you need to take any flash photos. I don't do it very often, but there are moments where I think I might need it, and having it just quickly there, sleekly in the design of the camera is really nice. As I mentioned before, autofocus. This camera has laser fast autofocus, almost as fast as my Sony camera, and that's something I find to be super critical. I think every camera now should just have blazing fast autofocus. Many cameras now have AI that does it for you, and the fact that this has really good autofocus just means I don't have to think about it. The eye tracking, select whatever, point, whatever, everything super fast, super snappy. Probably one of the fastest autofocus I've used in such a small camera. Now, talking more about the sensor, because the sensor obviously determines the image. That is still a really important factor. If the camera is small in size and everything and perfect for traveling, but you don't actually like the images that come out of it, then you're not going to want to use it. Now, this camera has been amazing and has been extremely amazing for travel. I got this while I was here in China, and since I'm kind of moving around a bit, has made me enjoy the camera even more, because something I do talk about is the fact that you should spend money on camera gear, yes, but try to spend more on what you're shooting versus what you're shooting with. I was in Mongolia a few weeks ago and I got some amazing shots. I even gave this to some of my colleagues and they took pictures of me and got some really cool shots. Now, this camera has a 40 megapixel sensor, and that's just amazing. I do like having a lot of pixels. I don't care about storage size. I like to be able to crop into my images because I often get really sick shots by just cropping in. Something I found that has not attracted me to smaller point and shoot sized cameras is the fact that they don't really have high megapixels. That's something that was actually making me want the Leica cameras, the Leica Q cameras to be more specific, because those have high megapixels in a small form factor. This has 40, really good amount. For me, 26 is like the bare minimum in terms of megapixels. Anything above that I really like. I really like 30, I really like 40. When I had the R5, I think that was 45 megapixels. Mwah, super nice. Being able to punch in, just having so much detail looks amazing. And the Fuji cameras actually have a little extra sauce to them. And this is something that really makes these cameras unique, and that is the recipes. In the simplest term, recipes are basically preset filters you have in the camera to give your photos a certain look without having to edit. Now, with this camera, what you can do is shoot a raw image, which is basically an image with no editing that retains all the detail of the sensor, including some settings you've chosen to shoot with that you can change later on. And this is what's done with most professional photographers. When you take a picture in RAW, with the raw photo, you can go into a software like Photoshop or Lightroom and edit the crap out of it and not lose any quality. Now, the other style of photo is a JPEG, and that's what's most common from an iPhone picture or from most non-professional cameras. And those already have a lot of color and life in them, but when it comes to editing them, there is very little flexibility, and changing too many parameters like the exposure and saturation will cause the image to break down and look really bad. With this camera, what I do is I shoot RAW plus JPEG. So when I take a picture, it's actually capturing two files. One file is the raw picture non-edited, and the other one is a JPEG with the specific recipe I've chosen. Now, I've looked through many recipes and I've settled on one. If you want, I can make a video about that, but I don't want to make this video too long. And since I've been here in China, it has been so beautiful to shoot with. Every picture, no matter what, I just literally point, shoot, no editing, post directly to Instagram, or just admire it on the LCD screen or admire it on my phone. The pictures just look so good straight out of camera, and I think that's what makes this camera so amazing. Now, whenever I go out with my girlfriend or just going out in general, I throw on the strap that it came with around my neck. I'm just out. I just keep it there just in case, and if I see something, boom, snap a beautiful photo just like that. And this is actually the first camera, and I've owned many cameras. If you look at my YouTube channel, this is the first camera I actually wear with a strap, so I can just keep it on my hip for whatever I'm doing. Because at the most random moments, especially living in a place like China, there are some random beautiful things that happen and you just want to capture them, and this camera just makes it beautiful and easy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Just a quick video about gear. More vlogs are going to be coming this week about my life here in China, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.